How do you figure out who the right people are
Okay.
when you're bringing people into your life? In work, this woman, generally. Give us a sense for that.
I think that's a great question. And there's a part of it that's magic. And that magic is, for example, what happened the first time you and I met, right? There are people you just know, you connect to, and you know you'll be in each other's lives forever. Sometimes that just happens, but there is the underlying reason. And I think it is a couple of things. One, I'll do the personal and the professional. So, because you said bringing people into your life, sometimes that's personally, and the other time it's hiring and building teams. So let's do the personal first. I think the personal part is being really focused on where you're trying to go in your life. And I usually, by the way, this is what I do on a once per year basis. At the start of the year, I make a list of how I want to grow this year. What do I want to do that's different? What do I want to learn? Like one time that's, was the music biz, right? I wanted to actually, by the end of this year, I want to know how the music business works in an industry. You might want to learn Mandarin. You might want to make a goal. I know somebody, she said to me one day, I don't have very many friends. So by the end of this year, I want to have a group of 6 girls that I consider my girls, my best friends. She actually had a goal. I'm going to work harder at having friends to go do fun stuff with. She said to me, I've never been on a girls trip. So, because I don't really have a friend group, she said, so by the end of the year, the proof will be that me and my new friends are on a girls trip. Then I'll know I've hit the goal. That's a real goal. Okay. So every year I sit down and say, how do I want to grow this year and change? What do I want to do? Now that leads to the next part. Personally in your life, you need to look around, and I'm talking about something that everybody's heard a million times, but you really are the sum total of the people around you. And you need to say, if this is my goal in my life, in a year, or it might be many years, but whatever it is, am I surrounded by people that deter me and bring me down? Or am I surrounded by people that contribute to my growth and help me get there? Whatever person you're trying to become, you need to be around people that are getting you there. So if you don't know, my answer to that one, Josh, is if you don't know who you're trying to be and where you're trying to go and how you want to grow, you'll never be able to identify which people should stay in your life and which people shouldn't. And you won't recognize when a Jeff meets a Josh and says, this is a guy I want to have in my life, because it's accretive, right? It's additive to what I'm trying to be. So that's the personal part, is you got to first answer what you're trying to be. On the professional part, it's, I think, very much, well, let me tell you the story that made me think of it. We had interviews on one of my companies, and we would bring people in. They usually interview with 6 or 7 people. And we had 2 people coming in one day, and in the morning, the guy that was interviewing got there first. And some of the employees, we had a break room, and in the morning, people were usually having coffee and making their breakfast in the microwave or whatever. And he comes in, and he's in the break room with employees, and they're chatting with him, and people come out of the room, and they're not shaking their head. I said, what? And they said, we don't even want to interview him today. He's not one of us. I said, what do you mean? We have 6 interviews set up. They said, just send him home. He's not one of us. Then this girl comes in, and same thing. They're in the break room. They're sitting with her, and they're like, she's totally one of us. You should hire her. I said, we haven't done any interviews yet. And they said, the interviews are going to go great. We'll do them, but we're already going to tell you right now how this day is going to end. She's one of us. So my question, Josh, to your listeners is, what does one of us mean? One of us is a group that you are a member of, that you want to be a member of, and you want other people to meet the same criteria, but you don't know what that is if you haven't defined it. So as a leader, as a CEO, I think you not only need to define those values, and that culture, but you need to write it down. So that what I was telling you about earlier, humanity first, when people talk about vision statements and value statements, a lot of times there's 14 of them, and they're really lofty, and they don't guide. Here's the way I want you to think of your values. Your values should be a short sentence that literally tells me what to do when I'm confused. That's my best way to explain it. So I've got an upset customer, and they want a refund, but we did nothing wrong. The customer was wrong. And my person's on the phone, and they glance up, and on the wall, it says humanity first. And they say, I know what I'm supposed to do here. Sir, you can have your money back. I'm sorry about the situation. And then they're telling me, hey, boss, I just gave him his money back, even though it was our fault. That's humanity first. That's values that we wrote out so our employees, when they were in their most confused moment, knew what decision to make.